What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is Anime Crossover. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Married to the Goddess of Death in Marvel Part 6. Now, let's begin. It has been 3 months since the war in New York City. Throughout these 3 months, the reconstruction of New York City proceeded smoothly and efficiently. Thanks to the hard work of numerous construction companies, a completely new New York City was reconstructed in just 3 months. The technological prowess of the Marvel world is beyond question. They possess exceptional infrastructure capabilities. Nevertheless, despite the restoration of New York to its original state, the memory of the tragic battle 3 months ago would remain indelible. Based on the post-battle statistics, a significant number of lives were lost in that immense battle. It was an extremely unfortunate occurrence that greatly affected everyone. Even now, 3 months later, mass movements continue to be widespread throughout the United States. Every nation started conducting extensive research on covert weaponry, aiming to better prepare themselves for any future encounters with extraterrestrial invaders. Several previously disregarded military projects were reconsidered during this period. As an illustration, let's consider the Super Soldier 2.0 project. Since the abomination caused significant destruction in Los Angeles, General Ross has faced a challenging period in his military career. He narrowly avoided legal trouble and potential incarceration due to the unfortunate situation. Despite utilizing his extensive network to resolve the issue, he ultimately experienced a significant decline in influence and found himself relegated to a role resembling that of a mascot. Nevertheless, following the Battle of New York, there was a significant shift in circumstances. He was once again mentioned when the formidable military might of the United States was effortlessly overwhelmed by the Chitauri Legion. The Super Soldier 2.0 project, previously halted due to the incident involving the abomination, has now been brought back into consideration. Many individuals were in favor of General Ross resuming the program to assist the United States in developing a controllable army of abominations. Despite the significant damage caused to the economy of the United States, it was impossible to ignore the immense power wielded by the abomination. Compared to the abomination that is the representation of the Super Soldier program, Captain America would just be reduced to an ordinary individual. As a result, Ross regained his position of authority and went on to become the chairman of the World Security Council. The imprisoned abomination was discreetly handed over to General Ross. The latest iteration of the Abomination Serum project has commenced. Examining the creature that had been heavily subdued with inhibitors and tranquilizers, General Ross' eyes gleamed with a determined ambition. He was determined to create something exceptional. The abomination may possess great strength, but it is far from flawless and has the potential for even greater power. Considering Hulk's previous performance in the New York battle, it was far from impressive. Asgard's Thor, the awe-inspiring deity of thunder, made a lasting impact on General Ross. Imagine the incredible power that would be unleashed if the strengths of the abomination and Thor, the mighty god of thunder, were combined. General Ross couldn't help but let his imagination run wild, picturing that scene in his mind. He couldn't contain his excitement. However, despite General Ross' ambition, he possessed a keen understanding of the individuals he could influence and those he could not. With Asgard's reputation on the rise, anyone foolish enough to scheme against the gods was practically begging for their own demise, wouldn't you agree? Despite the unfortunate circumstances, General Ross had to abandon his plan of targeting Thor and started searching for alternative options. For example, the video that was playing in front of him. In the video, a powerful phenomenon emerges as a red sun, growing and spreading with immense destructive force, surpassing even that of a high-yield nuclear bomb. The damage inflicted upon the Chitauri Legion surpassed that of all the other superheroes combined. This was a highly respected figure on Earth. He was the ultimate objective of General Ross. Naruto, imagine the immense potential of harnessing your power. General Ross said in a measured tone as he observed the video. His desire for Naruto's formidable power was overwhelming. Regarding General Ross' knowledge of Naruto's identity, it was likely due to the presence of a satellite overhead. Indeed, Naruto made no effort to conceal his whereabouts, as S.H.I.E.L.D. was well aware of the immense power he possessed. Naruto simply wished to avoid any potential trouble, as he didn't want to cause any unnecessary concern or risk being exposed. As a result, he became the target of another attack, this time from the military. Similar to General Ross, Tony also gazed at Naruto in the video with a sense of astonishment. Today, Tony had a sudden desire to revisit the memorable battle that took place 3 months ago. Then, in the video he recorded using Mark's suit armor, he noticed Naruto's presence. At first, Tony was simply curious to see what had infiltrated the space channel and disrupted the never-ending flow of Chitauri legions. That moment marked a significant shift in the Battle of New York City. Without Naruto's expert ability to block a constant onslaught of Chitauri legions, the pressure on the superheroes would be significantly intensified. Even the less powerful superheroes would have faced significant consequences. Regrettably, up until now, the unidentified individual who bravely ventured into the space channel successfully thwarted the Chitauri Legion. It was unclear who the individual was. It was unclear if the hero had returned from the space channel. However, Tony eventually caught a glimpse of the unnamed hero's true face after zooming in multiple times. It was Tony's friend, Naruto, who turned out to be the genius rider praised by countless people. He was the unsung hero, bravely charging into the space channel and successfully fending off the Chitauri's legions. So, he was actually undercover the whole time, quietly protecting the city. Tony couldn't help but feel a surge of respect for Naruto. When it comes to being a hero, Naruto truly stands out. Unlike other superheroes who bask in public adoration, Naruto's actions speak for themselves and make him truly deserving of the title. Tony felt compelled to share this news, recognizing Naruto's deserving of praise. However, after careful deliberation, Tony decided to abandon this idea. Given Naruto's reluctance to disclose his superhero persona, it seems unnecessary for him to intervene personally. After all, not all superheroes are like Tony, who was adored by the public. Actually, the majority of superheroes preferred to remain anonymous, avoiding unnecessary attention on their personal lives. However, this had no impact on the immense admiration that Naruto held in Tony's heart. If Naruto had insight into Tony's thoughts, he would have displayed a perplexed expression. "I'm curious if Naruto has come back. I wish I had discovered this sooner." Tony was disappointed to realize that there had been no news from Naruto for 3 months. It is highly probable that after hastily entering the spatial channel, Naruto encountered some sort of predicament. I sincerely hope that this was not the actual situation. However, after conducting a thorough investigation, Tony felt a sense of relief. Naruto has maintained consistent communication. He promptly returned to his manor. These past 3 months have been quite understated, with no mention of his own accomplishments in the New York City War. Tony has made his decision. I need to meet with him for a discussion. We should aim to develop a more intimate connection. Tony thought to himself. The idea was challenging for him to contain now. Even Tony himself was surprised to find that he had developed a newfound appreciation for Naruto. Impressive and possessing a strong sense of integrity, this individual played a pivotal role in the conflict that took place in New York City. This is Tony's perspective on Naruto. He was so eager to meet with Naruto that he decided to embark on a pilgrimage right away. Passionate as a devoted fan of the entertainment industry, after spending 3 months in Asgard, Naruto returned to his manor accompanied by Hela. The house had been reconstructed and closely resembled its previous state before it was devastated. I should prepare an exquisite dinner to commemorate our return to the beginning, Naruto exclaimed cheerfully as he grasped Hela's hand and gazed upon the familiar manor before them. Hela also nodded, maintaining a pleasant expression throughout. She was also in a positive state of mind and had made the choice to spend some time here with Naruto. Asgard was making significant progress. She could also take a break and clear her mind for a while, which is why she decided to return to Earth with Naruto. This manner was particularly enjoyable and relaxing to her, even more so than Asgard. With the space stone in her possession, she had the ability to travel back in time, ensuring that no matter what happened to Asgard, she could always return. She had no concerns and arrived on Earth with a calm attitude. I will prepare myself in my room, hoping for a flawless evening tonight. Hela smiled alluringly at Naruto and spoke in a captivating manner. Then she calmly ascended the stairs, aware of Naruto's watchful eyes, with the intention of changing her attire. She found the dresses on Earth more to her liking, as Asgard's clothing was quite unique. When comparing the battle armors of Asgard to the outfits on Earth, it's clear that the latter has the potential to enhance her attractiveness. Soon after, Hela transformed into a sleek black dress that beautifully accentuated her figure. With a confident smile, Hela gracefully exited the room. With confidence and grace, she displayed her stunning presence in the presence of Naruto. Naruto was extremely pleased, so he planned to showcase his culinary expertise. After providing ample sustenance, he was able to savor her company at a leisurely pace. However, right as the ambience within the manor was beginning to evolve, unforeseen visitors appeared at the door. The doorbell rang outside the manor, causing Naruto and Hela to exchange a disapproving glance. Who was it? So unexpected. Did this visitor not realize they were about to have an exceptional evening? Despite some initial hesitation, Naruto arrived at the front door of the manor and was greeted by a visitor. Tony Stark, an unexpected guest for Naruto. Tony, you should be socializing with those supermodels at the party today. Why did you have to come here and bother me? Naruto and Tony's relationship remained strong, so he voiced his complaints about Tony without hesitation. Tony quickly grasped something and gave Naruto a questioning look, accompanied by a knowing smile that conveyed his understanding. Soon, Naruto took Tony to the manor while Hela returned to her room. Tony was extremely straightforward in explaining the cause for his visit. Thank you for what you've done for us. For this city, I'm proud of you, my friend. To be honest, I now have some admiration for you. You are a true superhero. Today's passion was unusual, similar to that of a fan who had recently seen his idol, Tony. Naruto gazed at Tony with a puzzled expression on his face, wondering whether this Iron Man had a short circuit in his head. Tony gave off the sense of being quite haughty. Can such a guy praise him like this? Your acting skills are really good. I did not see it with my own eyes. I would be fooled by you. Don't worry, I won't talk about your identity everywhere. Tony saw Naruto's bewildered expression and assumed he was acting. He realized that superheroes always wanted to assist quietly and appear to be ordinary individuals in front of others. But Tony, there was no need. Tony had already become a fan of Naruto after witnessing him righteously dash into the space channel. Tony saw this as a truly heroic act. So, what the hell are you talking about? Naruto became even more perplexed when he saw Tony's enthusiastic expression. What kind of things was this guy talking about? Well, take a look at this. Tony felt helpless as Naruto continued to refuse to reveal his true identity. He placed his phone squarely in front of Naruto, and Naruto recognized himself in the video. At the same moment, Naruto realized why Tony was so enthused about him. It turned out that Tony misinterpreted his action of rushing into the spatial channel as just for the purpose of defending New York City, which is entirely nightly behavior. But, in actuality, Naruto simply needed to unleash his inner rage at the time. So he went seeking more unlucky Chitauris. In fact, I don't think I'm a hero, and I did that just to vent my anger. By the way, this video you better not send out. I do not want too many people to pay attention to my life. Naruto expressed to Tony that he believed Tony still possessed moral integrity. Tony nodded but mistook Naruto's meaning. He perceived Naruto as a noble person who did not seek fame or money, but in reality, Naruto despised difficulty. Needless to say, that was an excellent misunderstanding. The two people's thoughts were never on the same page, and Naruto did not attempt to explain much. However, Naruto was unaware that while he and Hela were playing music to start a new life, General Ross was in action. He was attempting to persuade one after another key government officials, and his goal was Naruto. It's not a wise decision though. Maybe it will cost us a superhero. However, if it succeeds, we will make the United States great again. Standing in front of the notoriously untrustworthy president, General Ross stated as much. He recommended having the military arrest Naruto and put him at his disposal. Although he may face Naruto's severe resistance, who cares? Naruto had great strength, but did he dare to attack the same human being? Superheroes do not dare to challenge the government. This is something that everyone understands. Otherwise, the world's public opinion would render Naruto's life worse than death. You're taking too many risks. You can detonate a supernuclear bomb at any time. If he resists fiercely, we can't afford the consequences of this. Mr. Unreliable has now become incredibly reliable. He disagreed with General Ross' dangerous plan to detonate a nuclear bomb at any time. Was he crazy? However, General Ross remained confident. His intellectual team devised a strategy following a night of investigation. As long as Naruto was a superhero, he could only allow him to be taken, because all superheroes were righteous. Perhaps that sounded sardonic, but it was the truth. Superheroes' only weakness was that they fought for justice. Justice implied that there was a bottom line. In reality, whoever was worse or more bottomless would win. General Ross was aware that Naruto could easily create devastation similar to that of nuclear explosions, but he went looking for problems with him. Was it truly a fool? No, General Ross simply took advantage of Naruto's image as a superhero. His moral bondage would prevent him from attacking his own species. Even if he resists, he will control the strength of the resistance and ensure that the repercussions are not severe. To put it frankly, Naruto uses his inner bottom line to restrain himself. You could call General Ross vile, but this approach typically worked quite effectively. Against other superheroes, the military only needed to cast a net of ostensibly righteous charges, and then they could run wild. The only difference was whether it was worthwhile or not. Wasn't General Ross often chasing the Hulk around? Was Hulk incapable of interacting with the military? How could this be possible? If Hulk was willing, he could even wipe out the entire ground forces of the United States military. But Dr. Banner's subconscious would advise Hulk not to make enemies with the state. This resulted in the Hulk being chained hands and unable to use his true strength every time he was pursued by the military. Even when attacked, he offered no resistance. To put it frankly, he remained bound by his internal moral standards. However, if Hulk was replaced by Abomination, the military had a solution. Abomination was not ethically bound. Therefore, in the perspective of the military, he was 10,000 times scarier than Hulk. Because the Abomination would truly exterminate their troops, such a creature, there was no absolute guarantee that the military would not even try to provoke. Likewise, Naruto was the same. The military merely needed to find a seemingly justifiable offense. They could go and apply for Naruto's arrest. As long as Naruto had a bottom line in his heart, he cared about the law and the country, and then he could only let the military act at will. Otherwise, he'd have to follow in Hulk's footsteps and become a fugitive. However, the military had to pay nothing more than some meaningless morality. Morality, for General Ross, was unnecessary. He was simply concerned with his purpose. It would be worthwhile to make sacrifices as long as the goal was achieved. So, after hearing General Ross explain his entire strategy, Mr. Unreliable faltered. He chose to consult his intellectual circle. If the concept was practical, he would nod his head and accept it. Soon, Mr. Unreliable received an answer from the intellectual organization. General Ross' strategy was ideal in terms of human psychology. Even if he actually did have a falling out with Naruto, he wouldn't have to pay much and would only need to toss out a few scapegoats to appease Naruto's rage. Of course, the assumption behind all of this was that Naruto was a true superhero. He would have a noble personality. Otherwise, all of the preceding was instantly negated. Based on military studies, Naruto's character should be fairly good. After all, Naruto had once selflessly struck during the Battle of New York City, breaking into the belly of the Chitauri Legion on his own. Without this incident, General Ross would not have been able to devise such a dangerous strategy. Let's go and do it. I wish you success. Finally, Mr. Extra Unreliable made a decision and agreed to General Ross' idea. Of course I will. We will make the United States great again, and the starry universe will be our ultimate aim. General Ross expressed satisfaction. He was convinced that if he could obtain Naruto's blood sample, he would be able to make soldiers 100 times stronger than the monster. What did the Chitauri Legion look like back then? Asgard may not even be placed in the eyes. After gaining Mr. Unreliable's cooperation, General Ross quickly exited the Pentagram building. He was going to begin preparations to launch the net against Naruto. All of the prerequisites had been met, all that remained was to harvest it. Who cares about Naruto's feelings? If there was an accident, He may drop his requirements to not subject Naruto to a human trial and instead request a small blood sample. Anyway, for General Ross, this was nothing. He had already lost all of his moral compass since assuming his post several years ago. Back with Naruto, sign-in was successful, rewarded with Avalon. The system sign-in was always the first voice Naruto heard when he woke up in the mornings. Today's luck was favorable, and it was rewarded with a positive outcome. Avalon. Now it's even harder for me to die.tl. It derives from the type moon. Naruto thought contentedly. Avalon, the legendary scabbard for the Sword of Oath of Victory. The term originated from Celtic mythology, which refers to the legendary land of fairies, an unachievable utopia far from Earth. In a certain universe, it was the most powerful guardian treasure, and the guardian border that opened was the highest EX level that could not be broken. When it was incorporated into Naruto's body, it significantly increased his life force and defense abilities. However, Naruto saw this as only slightly better than nothing because he was already somewhat immortal. Unfortunately, only Naruto could use this Avalon. Otherwise, it would be more practical to incorporate it into Hela's body. What a shame. In actuality, Naruto had exclusive access to the vast bulk of the system's reward props and templates. Naruto was about to stand up and wash his hands when the phone next to him unexpectedly rang. When he picked up the phone, he discovered that Tony had called. "Tony, it's not your style to look for me this early. What is the matter?" Tony should be sleeping at this point, based on the perception. He basically needed to get up in the afternoon. "You're still at the manor, right? Hurry up and leave. The military wants to target you." Tony's voice was enthusiastic. Obviously, this was an exceptional situation. Naruto became serious all of a sudden, which puzzled him. "Is the military targeting me? I am not the Hulk." A loud noise could be heard outside before Naruto spoke. The gate to Naruto's manor was forcibly broken open. Then, a bunch of people's footsteps came in. Combined with Tony's message, it was clear that the military had come. Naruto's expression was immediately melancholy. He despised hardship. Tony, on the other end of the phone, was already feeling uncomfortable. He had already begun to put on his mark armor, intending to arrive at Naruto's mansion fast. Tony had just learned that the military's General Ross was planning a strike against Naruto. In an instant, Tony recognized the gravity of the situation. He wasn't concerned Naruto would lose. He understood Naruto's strength well. He was frightened of Naruto's impetuous reaction, which would result in an irreversible situation. This was why he was so eager to avoid the confrontation as much as possible, and he messaged Naruto to take cover for a moment, but he didn't realize he was still a step behind. At the same time, Tony cursed General Ross silently. This dumb. If he wanted to die, he could just find a location to drop down. Why provoke Naruto? Tony was well aware of the military's practices and recognized them as a group of unreasonable rogues. If the military really pissed off Naruto, the results would be terrible. Furthermore, Tony did not want Naruto to suffer any loss as a moral superhero. Why did the military look for his trouble? Tony soon strapped on the Mark suit armor and flew immediately to Naruto's manor. Tony contacted S.H.I.E.L.D. about the situation while on his way. He now needed the assistance of Nick Fury. On the other hand, Naruto's manor. Naruto had entered the living room and encountered the bunch of unwelcome guests. Naruto remembers the leader as General Ross, an old guy full of ambition. At this point, General Ross had a victor's smirk on the corner of his mouth and glanced at Naruto with contempt. Behind him, hundreds of military soldiers had surrounded the estate. When General Ross saw Naruto walk out, he too moved forward and stood in front of him. "After our military's investigation, we believe that you are suspected of stealing military secrets. Please, Mr. Naruto, work with us. Otherwise, we have the authority to remove you by force." General Ross spoke to Naruto with the tone of a victor. Looking at his position, it was as if he was certain of Naruto. This caused Naruto to frown. What an undeserved accident. "What if I say no?" Naruto responded with a frigid expression, inwardly perplexed as to why there were always so many idiots coming to seek death in front of him. Wasn't it lovely to be alive? What happened to Naruto's enemies? Did General Ross not know? In truth, General Ross was unclear, even concerning the Brotherhood of Mutants. That topic was classified as top secret by SHIELD, and General Ross had no jurisdiction to inquire into it. You can refuse my order, but we will enforce it by force. You can also resist, even if you escape from here, but you will become a complete criminal in the future, and there is no place for you in the vast expanse of the earth. General Ross spoke triumphantly, as if he was not concerned that Naruto would storm away. General Ross' main source of confidence was the fact that Naruto appeared to be a genuine superhero. If Naruto became a supercriminal, General Ross would never dare to get into trouble with him. General Ross believed that even if Naruto resisted, he would only damage a few men before fleeing. By the way, you'd better cooperate with our military, or the consequences will be severe. You also don't want to see yourself lose your reputation and turn from a dazzling genius writer to a scum that everyone scorns, right? As if Naruto didn't feel protected enough, General Ross added one more statement to remind him of the dangers of resisting. The purpose was obvious: to intimidate Naruto, it is better to cooperate obediently. If Naruto were a superhero, he would be in a desperate predicament right now. If he resisted, he would be reduced to a felon, stripped of all his splendor. If he didn't resist, General Ross was even happier. He could do whatever he pleased with Naruto. He was able to draw as much blood as he desired. This may be described as an open-ended strategy that was nearly impossible to overcome. Using social opinion as a threat to confront the superhero's moral compass was an unsolvable chessboard for true superheroes. Unfortunately, General Ross, who was standing in front of him, had no idea. He wasn't a superhero at all. Naruto didn't even feel angry right now. Only General Ross stood in front of him, a hilarious clown putting on a dumb and awkward performance. Looking at the silent Naruto, General Ross smirked smugly, believing Naruto had submitted. So he raised his hand at the soldiers behind him. "Arrest him and bring him back." General Ross spoke smugly, as if he had predicted the day when he would use Naruto's blood sample to become the most successful man on the planet. With General Ross' motion, two soldiers approached and were about to arrest Naruto. Just then, Naruto used his super speed to strike out, grab a soldier's neck, and lift him up. Naruto lifted the miserable soldier in front of everyone, and he futilely pulled Naruto's hand with his hands, hoping for a few breaths of fresh air. This scene caused the mood on the field to alter dramatically, and the situation became extremely tense. General Ross even suffered a sudden heart attack. He didn't expect Naruto to be so blunt in his resistance. General Ross began to panic within when he realized Naruto held so much energy. But he pushed himself to calm down and addressed Naruto in a harsh tone. "What would you like to do? Do you truly want to make an enemy of the military? Do you truly want to betray this country? Consider the ramifications clearly. If you kill somebody, there will be no place for you on the entire planet." General Ross roared in an attempt to mask his underlying dread. He was the only person present who understood how terrible Naruto was. Only Naruto's eyes remained icy, making General Ross increasingly apprehensive. Finally, Naruto said, "Why do you think I'm a superhero?" Naruto spoke slowly, looking at General Ross, who was obliged to straighten up and stare at himself. His comments caused General Ross to freeze, and a sense of dread filled his heart. His strategy appeared flawless, but there was one crucial premise. It was that Naruto had to be a superhero with moral standards that went above and beyond those of ordinary people, because only then did Naruto have the option of compromising. However, if Naruto were supercriminal, his blackmail would be really absurd. To put it frankly, General Ross was betting that Naruto had higher moral standards than most people. Superheroes were far easier to deal with than supercriminals. The supercriminals were even worse than the military. The Gold and Red Iron Man arrived on the scene just as the atmosphere had frozen. At first glimpse, he saw the unlucky man whom Naruto had seized around the neck, as well as Naruto's cold eyes. "Calm down. Naruto, you first put the person down. We can communicate properly." Tony was quite flustered. He was scared Naruto would be irresponsible and twist the unfortunate man's neck off. At the same time, Tony was furious inside because General Ross' tactics were too devious. If it were him, he would be outraged as well. The simplest approach to dealing with superheroes was to apply morals. Morality was unnecessary in the military. Every superhero has a tie to his own persona. Doesn't even the civilian-born Spider-Man have Iron Man Tony behind him? The great majority of superpowered persons with no background would become supercriminals. Otherwise, why would each superhero have so many sworn enemies? For a moment, the atmosphere on the field was tense, and Tony and General Ross focused on the helpless soldier in Naruto's hands. What they were most concerned about right now was Naruto using his strength to deliver this unlucky soldier straight to God. In that event, the dispute between the two sides would be entirely exacerbated, making the situation irreversible. Naruto, brother, stay calm. At least the soldier in your possession is innocent. You should put him down first. Tony's voice came from the armor suit, encouraging Naruto to prioritize the big picture. However, after hearing Tony's comments, Naruto's eyes began to get colder and colder, and his glance toward Tony became more distant. What's the difference between telling someone to cool down and urging them to be kind? It may all be described as a moral superiority complex. Naruto then stared at General Ross, a sardonic smile forming in the corner of his mouth. Is it fun to play with others? Does it make you feel smarter? It was indeed a good idea to control superheroes who would restrain themselves because of their moral standards. Even if you fail, superheroes will show pity due to their internal moral standards. And then you can simply blame a few people, and everything will be fine, right? If I were a superhero, you would be protected right now because a superhero would not harm the leader of a nation. Regrettably, I am not a superhero. Naruto meticulously detailed General Ross' plan, articulating each aspect with precision. He was quite astute, as he could quickly deduce what General Ross was counting on, having already seen through it at first glance. He found it amusing. How did the elderly individual perceive themselves as a superhero? His unwavering confidence left Naruto feeling perplexed for a period of time. Despite Naruto's actions of eliminating numerous mutants, there were still individuals who perceived him as compassionate. He couldn't help but describe it as a truly enchanting experience. Upon hearing Naruto's words, General Ross' face grew pale, indicating that he was aware of the gravity of the situation. He had anticipated Naruto to have a strong sense of ethics, but he miscalculated. What was even more unsettling was that Naruto had an immediate understanding of his plan with just a single glance, causing General Ross to lose his sense of control over everything. Observing General Ross, who was at a loss for words, Naruto grinned with confidence. Please remember that someone lost their life as a result of your actions. That being said, Naruto's hand exerted pressure, firmly gripping the neck of the unfortunate soldier. The soldier's limbs, which were still in motion, now hung down in a state of helplessness. Next, Naruto shifted his attention back to General Ross. His gaze exuded a sense of disdain and a chilling desire for harm. Those who toyed with others' emotions would ultimately face devastating consequences. Simultaneously, Tony swiftly intervened, positioning himself as a barrier between Naruto and General Ross. Please, Naruto, enough. It is not advisable to proceed any further, as it may result in a significant complication. Interestingly, Tony also had a desire for General Ross to meet his demise, but he found himself unable to witness it firsthand. General Ross's identity ensured his invincibility against Naruto's attacks. Otherwise, Naruto would be seen as a threat to the United States. Naruto remained unfazed. His gaze remained strong and steady. Naruto always made sure to eliminate any enemy he encountered. Today, regardless of who arrived or what was said, General Ross' fate was sealed, and there was no room for negotiation. Right as Naruto and Tony were on the verge of a confrontation, Tony was abruptly interrupted by the commanding voice of Nick Fury. Tony, can you please provide an update on your current status? Nick Fury's voice exuded a sense of urgency, as if a significant calamity loomed on the horizon. Even during the Chitauri invasion, Nick Fury remained composed and unfazed. It is concerning that Naruto has taken the life of a soldier and now has intentions to harm General Ross. I am attempting to prevent his actions. Tony reported the truth in a professional manner. He was deeply contemplating how to put an end to Naruto's actions. Using force was completely pointless. Tony realized he was no match for Naruto. Furthermore, finding a way to justify Naruto was also a challenge. Tony did not hold Naruto responsible for the loss of life. His sole focus at the moment was to prevent Naruto from becoming a threat to the United States. He promptly notified Nick Fury about the matter. Please continue. Allow him to handle it. That infuriating General Ross. Please assist Naruto as well and eliminate that individual on my behalf. I will take full responsibility for the consequences, and there is no need for you to be concerned about the World Security Council. I will handle the situation professionally and provide them with a thorough explanation. Please assist in coordinating with Naruto to eliminate General Ross on my behalf. When he uttered the final sentence, Nick Fury raised his voice. Tony was taken aback, almost frozen in disbelief. He couldn't help but question if he was seeing things. Excuse me? Did Nick Fury really ask me to eliminate General Ross? Did I hear it correctly? Despite the tensions between General Ross and Nick Fury, it would have been more appropriate for Nick Fury to show a more considerate approach. Please proceed with my order. Take care of that individual. I will explain to you later. Nick Fury reiterated his message to Tony Stark. He displayed a highly professional demeanor, leaving no room for any sense of ease or relaxation. Tony was uncertain but obliged to follow instructions. And why would he decline? Nick Fury would bear every consequence anyway. Originally, Tony was very upset with General Ross, but he was concerned about his identity as the military general and had been restraining himself all the time. However, he no longer feared revealing his true self. Hey, I've had a change of heart, my friend. Let's take care of this individual together. Once Tony had made up his mind, he wasted no time and spoke directly to Naruto. Naruto was taken aback by Tony's sudden shift in demeanor. General Rose's expression also shifted abruptly, caught off guard by Iron Man's unexpected change in position. What on earth was happening? It seems like nobody these days values his identity. Consider the implications. I have extensive experience and expertise in military strategy and leadership. If you harm me, you will be seen as a threat to the United States. General Ross still spoke sharply to Naruto and Tony. He now expected them to be cautious of his identity. As for achieving his goal, General Ross no longer had hope for luxury. I know who you are. You are General Ross. But I received an order from Nick Fury, and he asked me to kill you directly. If you have questions, ask Nick Fury when he goes to Hell too. Tony said to General Ross and, at the same time, displayed his attitude to Naruto. Although Naruto was confused, he didn't take it to heart. As long as Tony didn't stop him, everything would be all right, and they would still be good friends. Only General Rose was still wondering why Nick Fury wanted Tony to kill him. In fact, the reason for this had to be mentioned early this morning. Early this morning, Nick Fury was still in a good mood. He had just made a lot of money yesterday, and then he got a call from Tony Stark early in the morning. When he learned that General Ross was actually going to arrest Naruto, Nick Fury almost froze. Then, he became extremely angry and forcefully destroyed one of his cell phones. That person actually wants to trouble Naruto. He is seeking an end to his life. Who on earth gave him the audacity? Can't he explore alternative options for a peaceful departure? I should have dealt with him sooner. What a frustrating situation. Nick Fury was extremely angry. He couldn't believe that someone would have the audacity to target Naruto. Setting aside Naruto's formidable strength, the fact that he is Hela's husband makes it clear that Naruto is an incredibly steadfast individual. Doing such a thing would cause diplomatic disputes, the kind that would be unbearable. If they failed, there could even be war. No, actually, slaughter would be a more suitable word instead of war. Nick Fury turned pale at the thought of these terrible consequences. So Nick Fury immediately contacted Tony and told him to leave General Ross alone, letting the old man die. Tony could even help Naruto kill the old guy. Anyway, Nick Fury had long been unhappy with General Ross. At the same time, Nick Fury also went to the Pentagon urgently. He wanted to greet the people there. It didn't matter whether General Ross was dead or not. It was crucial to avoid upsetting Naruto. It was crucial for him to avoid upsetting Hela and Asgard, especially considering Naruto's involvement. This General Ross really deserved to die. Wasn't he aware of Naruto's true identity? Oh, General Ross appeared to lack knowledge on the subject. There was no reason to discuss General Ross. Not even the president was aware of it. One would expect him to have known this, given his position as the president. He had the right to be informed. However, Nick Fury had concerns about the possibility of him sharing this news on Twitter to seek attention, so he chose not to inform him. This was not a difficult task. Indeed, the president's tweets covered a wide range of topics that were not suitable for Twitter. If General Ross were aware of this, he would have expressed his dismay. He was taken aback when, despite his meticulous calculations, he found himself at a complete impasse. And it was due to the untrustworthy president. If the president had been more dependable, such an occurrence would have been completely avoided, and he would have faced immediate rejection. It could be argued that General Ross was deserving of the situation today, as a series of coincidences aligned to bring about this outcome. The state of Naruto's manor had returned to its previous condition. Prior to General Ross' arrival, he possessed a strong belief in his ability to manage any given circumstance. However, he quickly found himself at a dead end. Seeing that his identity as general could not stop Naruto from killing him, General Ross was completely flustered. Finally, he gritted his teeth and pulled out a reagent tube from his pocket. Inside the reagent tube, there was a red amber-like liquid, which he poured down his throat. This was the result of his research these days. It was based on the serum of Abomination and the serum of Hulk. This was the super soldier serum that he had developed. He didn't intend to drink it so early. He wanted to wait until a higher serum was developed from Naruto's blood. But now, it was too late. He had no choice but to use this serum. Shortly after consuming the serum, General Ross experienced a sudden and intense discomfort. It appeared that the cells of the entire body were undergoing constant division and regeneration at this moment. This was an excruciating experience that surpassed the pain of broken bones. He clenched his jaw and tried to push through, but ultimately failed, releasing a primal roar in frustration. Simultaneously, his physique was consistently growing, akin to a balloon being inflated. His physique started to bulk up, and his complexion took on a reddish hue. "Oh my goodness!" Tony observed the scene before him and exclaimed. He was taken aback by General Ross' unexpected transformation. It was quite intimidating. It's interesting to discover the beverage preferences of General Ross. Meanwhile, the future of General Ross remained uncertain to everyone. However, it was clear that General Ross was becoming increasingly powerful as he underwent the process of mutation. Naruto observed the ongoing transformation of General Ross with keen interest, opting not to intervene. He was curious to witness General Ross' ultimate transformation. Nevertheless, it would be more appropriate to relocate the battle to a more spacious location. Considering this, Naruto swiftly dashed towards General Ross, seizing him, and soared high into the sky. After locating a suitable location, Naruto forcefully brought General Ross down. He was reluctant to damage the manor he had recently reconstructed due to General Ross. It is clear that General Ross lacked the necessary skills to defy the force of gravity. After being thrown by Naruto, he found himself descending through the air with no control. In a dramatic display, General Ross forcefully collided with the ground in the isolated countryside. If it was the original General Ross, this free fall would be sufficient to terminate his life. However, it seems that it did not. In a timely manner, General Ross' mutation was successfully completed, ensuring Naruto did not have to wait for too long. A formidable individual with crimson skin and a physique reminiscent of the Hulk stood firmly on the ground, emitting a thunderous roar in Naruto's direction. "This is Red Hulk." Naruto was taken aback by the unexpected appearance of the Red Hulk. In the original story, General Ross was expected to transform into Red Hulk, but it seems that this transformation was not meant to occur at this point in time. General Ross would transform into Red Hulk due to exposure to gamma rays, similar to the Hulk's transformation. It certainly didn't occur as Naruto witnessed it just now. He transformed into the Red Hulk immediately after consuming the medicine. Roar! General Ross, transformed into a Red Hulk, let out a thunderous roar in Naruto's direction. Meanwhile, he continued to vigorously pound his chest with his fist, seemingly issuing a challenge. Clearly, following his transformation into the Red Hulk, General Ross' thinking became somewhat muddled. However, he distinctly recalled his strong dislike for Naruto. With incredible speed and force, the Red Hulk charged at Naruto, resembling a cannonball launched from its barrel. This was a display of exceptional jumping ability. He effortlessly leaped to a staggering height of 300 meters. This immense power was comparable to that of the Hulk. Hulk possessed an extraordinary power to obliterate anything within his reach. It was unfortunate that General Ross, the Red Hulk, had a challenging life and crossed paths with a formidable character like Naruto. Red Hulk proved to be a formidable opponent, but ultimately succumbed to the overwhelming power of Naruto. Witnessing the impressive sight of Red Hulk leaping up from the ground, Naruto swiftly descended from the air. He approached Red Hulk swiftly and effortlessly pinned him down with a single step. The Red Hulk was propelled downwards at a greater velocity upon impact, surpassing the force with which he had initially leaped. However, the Red Hulk emerged from the hole completely unharmed. He had a strong resistance to physical impact. After emerging from the pit, the Red Hulk wasted no time in unleashing a mighty roar in Naruto's direction. Red Hulk's anger intensified his ferocity, while Naruto perceived it as nothing more than innocence. Actually, the Red Hulk possessed considerable strength, comparable to that of the Hulk. In the original story, he successfully defeated the Abomination. The Red Hulk can be considered as a long-standing adversary of the Hulk. It was unfortunate that the Hulk versus Red Hulk scene would never happen again due to Naruto's intervention. Meanwhile, Tony swiftly flew to Naruto's side and caught sight of the Red Hulk below. Is this General Ross? Tony was taken aback by the sight of the red guy below as he bore a striking resemblance to a certain teammate of his. Regardless, his life expectancy is limited, Naruto said softly, exuding an air of unwavering self-assurance. Prior to Tony's reaction, he swiftly descended first. The Red Hulk was also prepared and fully focused for the upcoming confrontation. He appeared to be tightly gripping his fists, seemingly prepared to strike at any moment. Nevertheless, Naruto decided against engaging in a direct confrontation with the Red Hulk. Instead, a white light flickered in both hands, and then Naruto threw a rope made up of white energy. The rope composed of this white energy effectively restrained the Red Hulk. Despite his best efforts, Red Hulk's attempts to free himself from the rope proved futile. Red Hulk was unable to break free from the rope, as Naruto had skillfully condensed it using white magic. Whether it was Hulk, Abomination, or the Red Hulk facing Naruto, their greatest adversary turned out to be magic. Similar to Kryptonians, these giants possessed minimal resistance to magic. As someone seeking to enhance their defenses against magic, escaping the limitations of white magic seemed like an unattainable goal. After successfully securing the red giant, Naruto swiftly took hold of the rope and energetically waved it. The immense strength propelled the Red Hulk into the air, rendering him unable to stay grounded. It felt like a powerful meteor hammer being wielded by a skilled warrior. Naruto was the sole authority on determining the destination of the flight. Naruto paused after tugging on the rope a few times, causing the Red Hulk to soar in a circular motion before forcefully slamming it to the ground. This was far from being a fight. This was just experimenting. Despite the Red Hulk's increasingly desperate cries, there was no escaping his inevitable fate as a mere meteor hammer. Under Naruto's expert guidance, he was repeatedly launched into the air and forcefully brought back down. Despite numerous attempts, the Red Hulk emerged unscathed, yet his eyes had turned a fiery shade of red. Clearly, the Red Hulk was consumed by an overwhelming rage. Nevertheless, Naruto paid no attention to it. He was simply playing with him. If he truly desired to eliminate his opponent, the Red Hulk would have been swiftly defeated. If you're still unsure, let's try something different, Naruto said with a confident smile, and then effortlessly pulled the rope in his hand, causing the Red Hulk to soar in front of him. Naruto was fully prepared when the Red Hulk appeared before him. He delivered a powerful punch to that unsightly face. The Red Hulk skillfully and forcefully struck the ground with great precision. This was a complete mockery of the opponent, rather than a serious fight. Interestingly, Naruto did not view the Red Hulk as a worthy adversary. After enduring Naruto's powerful punch, he found himself unable to escape unscathed. His teeth were severely damaged by Naruto, and his mouth was covered in bloodstains. Despite its pitiful appearance, Naruto felt no sympathy whatsoever. Considering the individual's past actions, Naruto believed that they deserved a severe consequence. It was simply that Naruto lacked interest in continuing to play, so he believed it would be more prudent to part with it sooner. Considering this, a black flame materialized in the palm of Naruto's hand, exuding an intimidating aura. With precision and control, Naruto effortlessly launched the fiery attack towards the Red Hulk. A mysterious black flame, seemingly alive, followed an unusual path and charged at the Red Hulk with its own volition. The Red Hulk clearly sensed the imminent danger and fought with all his might, unleashing powerful roars in an attempt to break free from his restraints. However, despite the Red Hulk's best efforts, the significant difference in strength rendered his attempts futile. Amidst the growing tension, the black flame descended upon the Red Hulk, capturing his attention. At that instant, the black flames grew exponentially, engulfing the Red Hulk in their fiery grasp, resembling a blazing inferno. When the Red Hulk was engulfed in black flames, a piercing cry of agony escaped him, as though he was experiencing indescribable torment. As the flames continued to burn, the Red Hulk's howl gradually diminished until it eventually vanished. Nevertheless, in a matter of moments, the colossal Red Hulk was utterly incinerated, leaving no trace behind. The Red Hulk, the long-standing adversary of Hulk, had met his demise. After the Red Hulk was taken care of, Naruto maintained his usual expression, while Tony's face showed signs of complexity. He continued to hold a deep admiration for Naruto. Indeed, Naruto's actions were truly commendable. However, Tony displayed a greater level of practicality. He was aware that Naruto didn't fit the mold of the typical superhero he was familiar with. He had a strong sense of justice, approaching his role as a superhero with a pragmatic approach. He believed in using unconventional methods to combat evil and violence. With a discerning gaze, Naruto approached Tony. "Please inform Nick Fury that I have no desire to witness a recurrence of this situation. It is important for others to recognize my authority and understand the consequences of crossing me." After speaking, Naruto turned around and left, not giving Tony an opportunity to respond. Once again, Naruto demonstrated his perspective on Nick Fury with these words. He had no need for Nick Fury's approval, nor did he require Nick Fury's validation to view himself as a superhero capable of saving the world. All he desired was to instill a sense of intimidation in others. The best approach to overcome fear is to show respect. This was the mindset that individuals should adopt when it comes to the deity of the world. The power of God was immense, while his grace was vast like the sea. The thunder and rain were divine blessings. Humans should not openly express their desire for occasional assistance from Naruto, as it is important to maintain a sense of independence. It wasn't Naruto's home planet. It simply shared the same name. He felt that following the encounter with the Red Hulk, it was important for those human organizations to understand how to handle his situation, just like the neighbor next door. Superman in DC had a similar portrayal. Superman was regarded with a deep sense of fear and respect by human beings. It was this sense of caution that had instilled in humanity a deep reverence for Superman. Otherwise, consider the challenges that lie ahead for the Avengers. An agreement was issued by the civilian human side to regulate superheroes. This also directly contributed to the Civil War. This was a natural occurrence. If one fails to instill fear, their greed tends to intensify. After defeating the Red Hulk, Naruto departed, leaving a lasting impression on Tony with his powerful words. "Do you aspire to wield ultimate power over all living creatures?" Tony pondered silently. He was aware of Naruto's message. Humans have always had a deep-seated fear of God. Naruto unquestionably possessed the power to ascend to a divine level. Overcoming all those who were dissatisfied was the modus operandi of the deity ruling the world. "Jarvis, what is the status of the data collection?" Tony abruptly inquired about his artificial intelligence. "The data on Lord Naruto has been collected and is available for your review, sir." Jarvis' voice emanated from within the armor, audible only to Tony. "I understand. Please transfer it to my laboratory at a later time. Let's begin this challenge, anti-God armor." Tony expressed himself in a complex manner and felt that he came across as quite eccentric. After all, if one were not bold, How could they even consider challenging God? However, this was what Tony had to do. He needed to have a system of checks and balances in place. In the unusual occasion, if mankind provoked Naruto, the world's deity, it would be an unresolvable tragedy. He had to be ready, even if the chances of such an incident occurring were nearly negligible. What Tony Stark didn't realize was that he had previously followed the footsteps of a grandfather next door. Inside the Pentagon, Nick Fury took a serious seat in front of the president. Nick Fury just disclosed Naruto's identity to Mr. President. Mr. President almost fainted when he learned that Naruto's bride was Hela, the current God King of Asgard. Had just agreed to General Ross' idea. If General Ross really succeeded, the human species would be annihilated. With this in mind, Mr. President questioned Nick Fury. What is the outcome? It should not have been the worst-case situation. Even though Mr. President was typically untrustworthy, he understood the gravity of the situation at the moment. General Ross is dead. Naruto killed him with his own hands. Nick Fury had gotten Tony's response, and his expression was somewhat complicated. But since his face was so black, it was impossible to discern anything from his look. Great. That person died well. I am relieved now. Mr. President gave a sigh of relief. He thanked God that humanity was still alive and would see the sunlight tomorrow. However, Mr. Unreliable quickly exposed his true self. Originally, nothing like this would have occurred. If you had merely revealed me Naruto's genuine identity, I would not have supported General Ross' scheme at all. This is all your fault. Your deception was the cause of General Ross' death. After assuring that he could see the sun tomorrow, Mr. President resumed his customary skills. He intended to shift blame for General Ross killing on Nick Fury. After hearing his remarks, Nick Fury just rolled his eyes. Are you discussing human words? If you hadn't pitted General Ross, would he have rushed to his death early in the morning? Why not speak the truth? Because you aren't very dependable. If I gave you a secret today, maybe you'd tweet about it tomorrow and tell the whole world. Of course, Nick Fury didn't speak these comments out loud since he expected Mr. President to pay him a large sum of money. Things have been settled, so we'll go back first. Nick Fury stood up and prepared to exit the building. Nick Fury paused again and directed Mr. President. We should be terrified of Naruto. I hope you remember all I said today. The voice faded, and Nick Fury departed. Only Mr. President remained there, grumbling to himself. Asgard's God King as a wife? What a fortunate lad. If only I were that lucky. Unfortunately, such a huge secret cannot be tweeted. Otherwise, there would be plenty of likes. By the way, I also have a lovely daughter. I wonder if I can bring her together with Naruto. Forget that ID, better give him a home eventually. I suppose he'll become friends with me. Maybe I can ask him to help me take a trip to Asgard. Apparently, Mr. President did not take Nick Fury's warning seriously. Instead, he was attempting to find out how to get along with Naruto. Typical businessman mindset, but not shocking. He was a businessman before becoming president, and he was, as usual, very untrustworthy. After resolving the Red Hulk issue, Naruto returned to the mansion. The troops that accompanied General Ross had already departed. Even the unfortunate soldier's body was carried away by his live companions. When Naruto entered the home, he saw that Hela was making breakfast with an apron, exactly like everyone else on Earth. Are things done? Hela inquired of Naruto, but her attention was drawn entirely to the cooked eggs in the pan. Only a little trouble, it was easily taken care of. Naruto did not take the Red Hulk situation seriously either. It was a little incident in his regular routine. It wasn't even as serious as Hela walking down the kitchen. During their 3-month sojourn in Asgard, he wasn't sure whether Hela's wife power had burst or if she had become fascinated with cooking for some reason. Her obsession with cooking was understandable, but her food was difficult to define. The simplest fried eggs might be cooked over a mound of black charcoal. This wasn't dark cuisine. This was death food. He wasn't sure whether it was a skill. Hela's strength was incredible, but why couldn't she learn to cook even a little? Every time her brain declared it had been learned, the hands became useless. With such an apprentice on the stall, Naruto worried whether his culinary abilities had deteriorated. However, Hela had made progress. It had been disagreeable from the beginning, and it was much more so now. The improvement was significant. However, Naruto believed that the outcomes were far worse. If Hela created food that could not be eaten, it would be discarded immediately and not enter Naruto's stomach. However, if she prepared really terrible meals, Naruto would suffer greatly. Naruto's senses had become very developed, and his sense of taste was the same. When eating wonderful food, this tremendously developed taste provided a sense of happiness. This is also why Naruto became hooked to cooking. He was hooked on consuming his own meals. After consuming Hela's cuisine, his highly developed sense of taste led him to despair. Naruto believed that Hela's cuisine would eventually pain him to death. Then, he would activate the ancient Doomsday's resurrection ability, making him resistant to dark foods from that point forward. However, there was still a long way to go before achieving this aim. Clearly, Naruto's anguish was insufficient. Hela quickly brought her beautifully cooked eggs and placed them on the table. Then she gazed at Naruto with eager eyes, pushing him to eat it swiftly. Naruto was flustered and wanted to decline, but he couldn't do so in front of Hela's eager gaze. He could only clench his teeth, cut a slice of cooked egg, and swallow it forcefully. Then so salty. But no matter how bitter he felt, Naruto had to keep a grin on his face and nod at Hela. Well done, there is progress. Yesterday, the fried egg was prepared with devil chili sauce. Who knows why Hela used such ingredients in her fried egg recipe? Naruto has led a leisurely life since his encounter with the Red Hulk. Tony Stark was busy building the anti-god armor and kept himself buried in the laboratory, but he made very little progress. Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. apologized to Naruto and never returned. He had already understood Naruto disliked being bothered. During this time, only Thor visited Naruto once. Thor's lover Jane Fox gone away to do study, leaving him with nothing to do. Thor, however, did not remain long due to Hela's presence. He was suddenly uneasy and somewhat terrified by the sight of Hela. After all, Thor had vivid memories of his prior battering at the hands of Hela. Let him be, he can do whatever he wants. Hela had whispered something about Thor. Asgard was now totally under her authority, and she didn't need Thor to take on any further obligations. Thor might have a happy life based on his tastes. In truth, she didn't have much hope for this foolish brother. She just prayed that he wouldn't dishonor Asgard too much. Naruto didn't think much since he didn't intend to interfere in the conflict between the two brothers. This time, it was better for him to consider how to persuade Hela not to cook again in the future. One kitchen deity at home was plenty. There was no reason for another. However, it was clear that Hela was still quite interested in cooking, and he did not expect her to give it up anytime soon. Unlike Naruto and Hela's idyllic lives, the outer world was becoming more tumultuous. The Battle of New York City had far-reaching consequences beyond destroying half of the city. This conflict also marked the beginning of an age, one characterized by anarchy. Following the Battle of New York City, most regular people panicked. They were terrified about the end of the world. This terror was easily understood. It was analogous to the trauma of the post-war era. These folks frightened because they had no feeling of security in their hearts. As a consequence, the present global order was very chaotic, and crime rates were rising, especially in the United States, which was the primary battleground and suffered the most from the Chitauri army assault. Overnight, the number of gangsters in New York City almost tripled. The likelihood of other horrible attacks also increased significantly compared to regular times. For example, one of the news items Naruto watched said that a stadium in New York City had been attacked. There were approximately 100 victims. The situation was so sad that there were corpses everywhere. If such terrorist assaults had happened in prior years, the public opinion of the whole United States would have burst, similar to the 9/11 catastrophe at the turn of the century. However, during the Battle of New York City, although this terrorist strike was truly awful, its effect was much reduced. Perhaps this was the allure of the United States, the beacon of humanism. In the world of superheroes, being an ordinary person is like living in hell. Fortunately, I am not an ordinary person. Otherwise, I want to know how I'll die. Naruto shook his head while watching the news on television. Just as Naruto was ready to change the news station to something more uplifting, the screen on the TV abruptly changed. The original blonde hostess transformed into an elderly guy with a beard. It was worth observing that the elderly guy had a ring on each finger of his hands. The 10 rings. Naruto got mildly fascinated and continued to watch television. Soon, the elderly gentleman with 10 rings adorning his hand on TV referred to himself as Mandarin. Simultaneously, he also revealed that his organization, the 10 Rings, claimed responsibility for the terrorist attack on the stadium. Finally, Mandarin also stated that this attack served as a warning and hinted at even grander plans. Their next objective was the Stark Industrial Building. Following that, the image of Mandarin abruptly vanished, and the blonde hostess made a reappearance on the TV. It seems that the news broadcast of this news channel has been hacked and replaced with a disturbing statement in Mandarin. Here is the plot of Iron Man 3. It appears that exciting things are on the horizon. Naruto pondered silently as he instantly recognized the familiar setting before him. It was from the movie Iron Man 3. However, Naruto couldn't help but question the timing of the plot in Iron Man 3. Or was he the one responsible for the butterfly effect? In addition, Naruto was confident that the individual who made the statement was far from ordinary and possessed some sort of extraordinary ability. He played the role of a genuine supervillain in the movie rather than being an actor. It's quite intriguing. It appears that the plot has indeed undergone some significant changes. Naruto believed this to be true, but he wasn't particularly shocked. However, he believed that it was customary for the plot to undergo alterations. Even if Thanos arrived at Earth tomorrow, Naruto wouldn't bat an eye. But was it truly significant to him? The Mandarin made it clear that his focus was on Tony, with no intention of targeting Naruto. Why would Naruto choose to seek out trouble instead of simply observing from the sidelines? So, Naruto planned to be a bystander who would simply observe the spectacle. Tony also noticed Mandarin's announcement and discovered that Stark Tower was going to be Mandarin's next objective. Nevertheless, as a superhero, Tony was completely fearless. Tony held a negative view of Mandarin, considering them to be a threat. What reasons would cause him to feel fearful? Do you recall the nature of Tony Stark's former occupation? He was a prominent arms dealer in the United States, a master in the art of warfare, a purveyor of lethal power. Tony, despite his anger, showed no fear. He went as far as organizing a dedicated press conference. During the conference, Tony made derogatory remarks about Mandarin and openly criticized the 10 Rings organization. Meanwhile, he mentioned eagerly anticipating the retaliation of the 10 Rings in the Stark building. Tony Stark displayed no fear whatsoever. However, it became evident that Tony had an overly inflated ego. The 10 Rings was not just any ordinary terrorist organization, but rather a secretive and ancient organization that had been handed down through generations. The level of power they wielded surpassed Tony's wildest expectations. During the day, Tony declared war on Mandarin. He was unexpectedly attacked by the 10 Rings. Multiple ground missiles struck Tony's beach villa. The missiles caused extensive damage to the surrounding land near the beach villa. Tony Stark suffered a severe injury when, during a crucial missile attack, he entrusted his mark armor to his assistant Pepper. Pepper emerged unscathed from the incident, while Tony suffered severe injuries. Indeed, this was not the main issue. Naruto was also impacted by this explosion, which posed a significant problem. Naruto's beachfront estate was conveniently located near Tony's luxurious villa, with a straight-line distance of less than 10 kilometers separating the two. He was uncertain whether the ground missiles were fired accidentally or intentionally, but to his surprise, 2 of them landed in Naruto's manor. Thanks to Naruto's professional experience in the Battle of New York City and his quick thinking to impose a barrier on his manor, his property was spared from destruction once again. Despite the manor being intact, Naruto was extremely angry. After all, it's understandable to feel angry when someone is unexpectedly struck by a missile while peacefully staying at home. That's why Naruto made the decision to locate Tony. He intended to allow Tony to utilize Jarvis to assist him in locating the whereabouts of Mandarin and the 10 Rings. Upon his arrival, he discovered Pepper in tears, distraught over Tony's injured body. "Naruto, please save him. He is experiencing bleeding. His life is in danger." Upon witnessing Naruto's arrival, Pepper, still clad in Tony's mark armor, tearfully addressed him. She was in desperate need of assistance, and fortunately, she found a lifeline. Naruto stepped forward, his gaze fixed on Tony, who was badly injured and bleeding. During the violent explosion, Tony sustained injuries and lost consciousness. Currently, his body temperature was dropping at a rapid rate. If no action was taken to assist him, Tony's life was in imminent danger. This had a stark contrast to the original plot, suggesting that the future plot would undergo a complete transformation. Naruto observed the distressed Pepper next to Tony and quickly understood the situation. "Rest assured, I will handle everything." Naruto approached Pepper and offered words of comfort. He was determined to help Tony, as their friendship was strong. In addition, Tony earned Naruto's respect, which played a significant role in Naruto's decision to save him. This type of respect was not based on physical prowess, but rather on one's personal character. When faced with danger, Tony made every effort to protect his partner, earning Naruto's deep admiration. In his perspective, Tony did deserve his assistance. "Please save him. I have complete faith in your abilities." Pepper was still crying, but she had placed all her trust in Naruto. Confidently, Naruto swiftly arrived next to Tony and crouched down. Then, Naruto skillfully produced a life potion and carefully administered it to Tony. Naruto acquired this life potion through a sign-in event. It serves as a consumable item that can be administered to others. Regardless of the character, whether it was Naruto or Hela, the potion's effect was underwhelming. As a result, Naruto always stored it in the system storage space. Little did he anticipate the need for it today. After consuming the potion, Tony's injuries showed significant improvement, with his wounds healing noticeably faster. This demonstrated the immense effectiveness of the life potion, surpassing all existing treatments. Naturally, this elixir only had an effect on those who were not immortal. Ahem. Right now, Tony, who was unconscious, regained consciousness and opened his eyes after coughing twice. Upon awakening, his gaze fell upon Naruto and the tearful Pepper. Upon witnessing Naruto's actions, Tony felt a deep sense of gratitude towards him. He expressed his appreciation through a heartfelt gaze, cherishing this act of kindness in his heart. Next, he glanced over at Pepper, standing nearby. "Please refrain from shedding tears." I remained composed despite the pain. "Why are you in tears?" Tony mustered a smile and gently wiped away the tears from Pepper's face, his hands stained with blood. Tony himself was unsure of the reason. When faced with danger, his immediate priority was to ensure the safety of Pepper. This approach was not suitable for his carefree personality, because Tony himself had never fully grasped the depths of his emotions. He was a carefree individual, but even he understood that it was purely for enjoyment. Pepper was the only one he truly admired. His top priority was ensuring Pepper's safety when they found themselves in a perilous situation. Despite his outward appearance, he possessed a deep emotional side. It appeared ironic, but he had managed to interpret the true essence of superheroes in his unique manner. When he sacrificed his own life to snap his fingers, the character known as Iron Man proved himself to be a genuine superhero, an individual with exceptional abilities and unwavering determination. Please refrain from being overly dramatic. You will be fine. You should hope that this injury hasn't impacted any of your skills. Naruto playfully taunted Tony and effectively dispelled the somber mood. It was a relatively calm and non-threatening situation. Pepper couldn't help but burst into laughter, shooting Tony an irritated glare. They both finally confessed their feelings for each other after this unfortunate event. During the conversation, S.H.I.E.L.D. also arrived at the scene. Nick Fury arrived in person and was relieved to find Tony unharmed. Tony was a valued member of the Avengers. If something were to go awry with him, it would surely devastate Nick Fury. Then Nick Fury thanked Naruto once more, but Naruto dismissively waved his hand. Before departing, Naruto reminded Tony to investigate the identity of our assailants. Please provide me with their address once you have obtained it. I am determined to hold those responsible accountable for this attack. Despite Tony's competence, Naruto couldn't let this matter go any longer. Tony's retaliation was Tony's affair. However, his estate suffered significant damage due to the impact of 2 ground missiles. If he didn't fight back, Naruto wouldn't be the same. Tony agreed. He was determined to address this matter. He had a close brush with death. Without Naruto's assistance, he would have perished by now. Regardless, he was determined to uncover the mastermind orchestrating everything, and true to his nature, he wouldn't hesitate to eliminate his adversary. Located in the heart of New York City lies a secret room tucked away within a building. A well-groomed individual was providing a detailed update to a senior individual during a video conference. It was evident to any observer that the man standing before the other was highly experienced and knowledgeable. The plan did not succeed. "Tony is alive. Mandarin. What steps should we take next?" The man inquired in Mandarin. He appeared highly professional, exuding an air of reverence akin to a devout believer in the presence of their deity. "It's inconsequential if we don't succeed. Now, let's proceed to the next step. Aldrich, perhaps you could focus your attention on engaging individuals in close proximity to Iron Man." Mandarin spoke to the young man named Aldrich. Aldrich nodded, having already considered a target to do so. Soon, the video call concluded, and Aldrich's professional demeanor faded away. Instead, it was replaced with intense animosity. "Tony Stark, a decade ago, you made me wait on the rooftop all night and completely disregarded my dignity. Now, I will reciprocate all the mistreatment I have endured tenfold. No, 100-fold to you," Aldrich said with disdain. He clenched his jaw as he uttered the name Tony Stark. The incident that occurred 10 years ago was the underlying cause of all these occurrences. Stay tuned for more. And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, I appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.